and welcome to another Family Learning Fortnight video. I'm Miss Wilson from the Food and Consumer Science Department, and tonight I'm going to be chatting us through our very own Friday night fakeaway, where we're going to be making a keema curry, and I'm going to be chatting about what nutrients that we can find in this dish. So first of all I've done is I have finely sliced and diced an onion and a pepper, and both of these are going to help contribute to our fibre content, which will help us go to the toilet more regularly. Next up, I'm just going to peel and grate a carrot. And not only are carrots good for the normal growth in children, but the old wives' tale of how carrots can actually help you see in the dark, there is some truth to that matter, because carrots are very high in vitamin A, and vitamin A is required to make visual purple, which is the substance in our eyes that helps us to see in dim light. So there is some truth to that. So that's all then ready on our plate. Next up, what I'm going to do is I am going to prepare my garlic and my ginger and all my herbs and spices that I'm going to be using. So in here I have got cumin seeds, ground coriander, chili powder, garam masala, turmeric and a little bit of salt, and these will just help add flavour to our dish. Next up, I've got some beef mince here, and I've chosen the 5% fat to try and reduce our total fat content, to try and reduce our risk of obesity. And in here I'm just going to make up stock, so I'm just going to fire in a beef stock cube into my water, and then the next stage is to start our cooking process. So onto the cooking process now. We're just going to brown our mince in here. I've not added any additional fat to the pan, I've just added the mince straight in and I've turned the heat on to brown it. By not adding any additional fat, again, we are not adding any more fat to the total content of this dish. Too much fat in our diet, we know, can lead to weight gain, which could increase our chance of having obesity. Our mince here will provide us with a source of protein in our diets. Now, we all need protein in our diet for growth, repair and maintenance of our body cells and tissues. Also, because it's a red meat, it's going to be really high in iron, which prevents our risk of anemia, which can cause us to feel really tired and lose concentration easily through the day. It is worth mentioning that we shouldn't have a diet too high in meat products due to the high risk of saturated fat in them, and saturated fat are really high in LDL cholesterol, which is the bad cholesterol which clogs our arteries. So in the pan now, I have got all my vegetables, my herbs and spices. I'm just going to add in my stock with my tomato puree in there, and I'm going to leave it to simmer away to allow all the flavours to all come together. The herbs and spices in here don't have a lot of salt added. We only added 1.25 mils of salt into the dish, but it is down to personal preference for the types of flavour that you would like. So if you'd like something a bit spicier, then use a hot chilli or add more of it. As long as you add all the powders, all the herbs and spices before you add any liquids to the pan, and it'll mean that you don't end up with like a gritty, powdery flavour or texture in your mouth when you eat your curry. So always add the powders, the dry ingredients before you add the liquid to the curry. So that's just there simmering away. And with our curry, we're going to serve up some paratha breads, which is a little bit different to having it with rice. I've just used white flour, but if you would like to increase the fibre content, then you could use wholemeal flour instead, or you could just use 50 grams of wholemeal and the rest white. And I've also added in some ground coriander seeds for flavour. Again, no added salt into this. It's all herbs and spices rather than adding salt here. Too much salt in our diet can increase our blood pressure, and which increases our risk of strokes. I've then taken some olive oil and added that in. Now, olive oil is an unsaturated fat, which is the good kind. That is because they are high in the good high density lipoproteins, so the HDL cholesterol that helps to ferry away the bad cholesterol that clogs up our arteries, and it takes it down into the liver where it is broken into bile. So all I've done there is I've added my water and I have brought it together into a dough consistency, and I have left it to rest for about half an hour. I'm then going to separate that into two and roll them out into two identical breads. But you can have some fun with this, make them any shape you like. And we're just going to lightly fry these, but rather than adding additional oil to the pan, we're just going to brush some oil onto the actual breads here and quickly seal them in our pan. So there is our bread, really high in carbohydrates, which is going to provide our body with energy for all functions and activities as well. And over the weekend, if you try this recipe out, please send in any photos or videos to any of the school Instagrams. And there is our sauce in a good consistency.